Shalom family, and welcome back to the Semitic Jew channel, where we read the New Testament the way it was written, as the continuation of our covenant story, the covenant of Israel, and not the birth of some new religion like Christianity or a new state like the 1948ers. Today we move to the Book of Ephesians. Ephesians is often taught as a book about the church, but when you read it carefully, Paul is actually explaining how the divided houses of Israel can be reunited if they follow the Messiah. This book is about Judah and Ephraim, the two sticks, becoming one. Let's break it down. Number one, who were the Ephesians? The Ephesians were Israelites in Asia Minor. That's Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesus was a major city in Asia Minor. And yes, that doesn't mean that there were only white people there. A region heavily populated by scattered Israelites from the Assyrian captivity. Paul opens by addressing them as saints. We saw in the book of Galatians, he addressed them as brethren. Here, he's addressing them as saints and faithful in Christ. That is Ephesians chapter 1, verse 1. Saints is an Old Testament term that is reserved specifically for the Israelites. That is Psalms chapter 148, verse 14. Paul immediately speaks covenant language. He calls them chosen. He calls them predestined, adopted, inheritance. These are terms that only refer to the covenant people of Israel. They never refer to some random nation. Number two, predestination is about our calling. It's not about individual salvation. Ephesians chapter 1, Paul explains that Israel was and is chosen before the foundation of the world, predestined to inherit, sealed for redemption. This is corporate election, not random individual fate. Israel was and is and has always been God's chosen people. That's Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. And again, this is not talking about the 1948ers. Ephesians explains how that calling continues in the Messiah. Number three, dead in trespasses equals scattered Israel living like Gentiles. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. Paul describes his audience as once walking like Gentiles, living in disobedience, cut off from covenant life. This matches the prophet's description of Ephraim living among the nations, and we can see that in Hosea chapter 7, verse 8. They weren't Gentiles by blood. They were Israelites living as Gentiles by culture. Number four, afar off. Afar off refers to scattered Israel. That's Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11 to 13. This is one of the most misused passages in the New Testament. Paul says, "Ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh." Afar off is prophetic language for the northern tribes. Isaiah 57, verse 19. Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Paul is not talking about pagans suddenly joining Israel. He's talking about the lost Israelites being brought back. And no, it did not happen overnight. It's going to happen over time. Number five, the one new man. The one new man is one reunited Israel. That's Ephesians chapter 2, verse 14 to 18. Paul says the Messiah broke down the wall that made one new man. This does not mean that Jew plus Gentile equals new religion. It means Judah plus Ephraim equals one restored nation, and this fulfills Ezekiel 37, where the two sticks become one, Jeremiah 31, where there is a new covenant with Israel and Judah. There is still one covenant people, and that is us, the Israelites. Number six, the household of God is Israel's household. The household of God is Israel's household. That is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19 to 22. Paul says They are now fellow citizens of the household of God, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets. Gentiles were never promised citizenship. Israel was. Paul is describing Israel returning home. Number 7, the mystery revealed. The mystery revealed is scattered Israel among the nations. Ephesians chapter 3. Of course it is. Paul explains the mystery, which in other ages was not made known. The mystery is not Gentile salvation. The prophets already spoke of Israel among the nations. The mystery is how God would restore them, is how God would restore us. It's not going to be by some Balfour declaration. It is through the Messiah, by the Spirit, without tribal hierarchy this time, without tribal control. Israel returns as one body. Number 8, unity and maturity for Israel. That's Ephesians chapter 4. So Paul urges that we must have one body, one spirit, one hope, and one Lord. That is about Israel, Israelite unity, and Israelite unity language. He warns them to stop living like Gentiles, again proving they are not ethnic Gentiles. Number 9, Israel's warfare is spiritual. Ephesians chapter 6. It's not according to the flesh. So Paul ends with the armor of God. This is covenant war language taken directly from Isaiah. Israel's battle is not against flesh and blood. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. It is not with military weapons like they're using in Israel today. It is about keeping God's commandments. Not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual powers that kept us scattered, deceived, and, most importantly, in slavery. The closing message is this. The book of Ephesians is not about creating a new church. It is about reuniting the 12 tribes of Israel and restoring our inheritance, ending our exile in all these nations, healing division, and forming one covenant nation under the Messiah. Ephesians shows us who we are and how God is restoring and can restore his people. If this teaching gave you clarity, please like, share, and subscribe. In the next episode, the book of Ephesians, joy and endurance for us in captivity. Shalom, family, and I'll see you in the next one.